Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Aiman Ibn Masan. I'm from RSA 245A. So today I will show you how to do the to analyze using Spss for each data set. So let's go. So as you can see, this is a question that we given to the set data operation. Then you need to show step procedure to analyze using Spss for each data set, as I mentioned before. So for the question is, what is suitable statistical analysis for the objective question? So there is independent variable that is group A and divided by group A and group B. As you can see at this equation, group A and group B. And then for the independent variable is dependent variable is cholesterol level. So for the observation, that is independent sample independent t-test. So for the distribution of data, we're using the community and using Komograph and Semino and Shapiro wheel. So for question number 2b, what the assumption of the statistical analysis? So for the assumption is cholesterol level dependent variable is numerical data, and then we got a random sample, that is two sample are independent of each other, that is group A and group B are independent observation. So we go to the data set for cholesterol. So as you can see, group A is 11 and group B is 9 total. And then after we get this question of data set, we fill data set 1 in the Spss. So we click variable view and fill the data. We put group cholesterol, and for number 2 column we put level underscore cholesterol. Okay, so for decimal place, we put group cholesterol into 0, and then level cholesterol is number 1. Okay, after that we go to values and fill the value 1, and then for level is group A, and then we click A and do the same thing, put the 2 on the value, and level is group B, and then we click OK. After that we go to measure and make sure click on scale, and same goes to the level of cholesterol, put on scale. And then we go to data view and fill form for group A is so after we finish the data set, as you can see, 1 into 11 and 2 into 9, and then we go to the analyze, and then we click the descriptive statistic and go to explore, and make sure the level cholesterol in dependent list, and group cholesterol in fatty lists. And then we go to statistic and make sure tick in descriptive and confidence interval for mean is 95%, and then click add outliers and go continue. And then we go to plot, and then make sure stem and leaf is tick and histogram too, and then make sure click on normality plot with test, and then we click continue. After that we click OK, and you can see the data. So as you can see the test of normality. So for this data we choose the Shapiro weight because the sample size is not more than 50. So as you can see, p-value Shapiro weight for group A is 0.332, is greater than 0.05, which means it's not thickened, and that is a normal. And then we go to the group B, which is the p-value Shapiro weight is for group B is 0.893, is greater than 0.05. That is not significant, same like group A. That is not significant and normal. So we go to the histogram bar chart, and we can see there is two group, there is two graph. There is group cholesterol group A and group cholesterol group B. And then so from the graphically or from the histogram chart, we can see both group show normal distribution. So for the assumption is met, and then distribution is normal, and then therefore the appropriate methods used for this histogram is independent t-test. So for the hypothesis that we can say that for the null is there is no significant in mean of cholesterol level between group A and group B. So for the hypothesis, there is significant in mean of cholesterol level between group A and group B. So after that, we click on the data set and then go to analyze, and we go to compare means, and then click the independent sample t-test. For the test variable, we put the level cholesterol. Then for the grouping variable, we put the group cholesterol. Then we click option and make sure the confidence interval percentage is 95%, and then we click continue. And then after that we click the define group and make sure group 1 we put 1 and group 2 we put 2, and then we click continue, and then we click OK. So for independent sample t-test, as you can see, there is for the standard deviation there is 0. For the group A 039.01. There is the significant in mean of cholesterol between group A and group B, and then group A for mean 6.227, 0.3901 reported had significantly higher cholesterol level than group B, that is 55.3. For the standard deviation is 61 for 0.6144. That is for the t-test. 13.015 is greater than 0.05. So you can see 13.015 and P is greater than 0.005. So we go to question number 2 is data set 2 underscore scar. So we read the question first. Iskandar want to compare the change of scar area of the burn patient before and after treatment. Measurements are taken 1 day before and 1 week after treatment. So before, we want to see what is suitable statistical analysis for objective. And so this is scar area of the burn patient is the dependent variable, and before and after treatment is independent variable. So for the observation is dependent sample by petty test and distribution of data is we using test normality using Komograph, Smirnov and Shapiro-Wilk. And we go to the question number 2b. What are the assumption of the statistical data? So for the assumption, we go the observation different before and after are normally distributed. And then we go to the data set, and we can see this is a before treatment and after treatment data set. And go to the Spss and fill the question. As we can see, we click the variable view, and then we fill the form in the name. Column 1 is before and treatment, and then for the decimal is number 2, decimal 2, and then measure, we put scale, and same goes like column number 2 after treatment, and put the 2 decimal place, and then measure, scale. And after that, we fill the data at the before and treatment based on the question, like this. Okay. So after we fill the data, we want to see different before and after treatment. So we go to transform, and we go to compute variable. And so as I mentioned before, for the target variable, we put differences, and then click before treatment, add numeric expression, and click after treatment, click minus first, and then click after treatment into the numeric expression, and then we click OK. So the data already execute, and we go to Spss back, and we can see. So after that, after we see the difference, we click the analyze and go to descriptive statistic and click explore. And in this explore, we just click difference only into the dependent list, and then we go to statistic. Make sure we tick in descriptive, and make sure the confidence interval for mean is 95%, and then we click outlier and continue, and then we click plots, and then make sure descriptive they have stem and leaf, and click histogram, and then we click normative plot with test and continue. After that, we Okay. So, as you can see, the test of normality is the differences is statistic 0.209, the F20, and the significance is 0.022, and statistic is 0.927. That is for homograph, but we want to see Shapiro weight. So as we can, as I mentioned before, we choose Shapiro weight because this sample size is not more than 50. So as you can see that since the P value deduction is 0.133, so is greater than 0.05. So the data is normally distributed, and therefore the appropriate method for this test is we have to use the pair T test. And then so for the null hypothesis, there is no change of scar area of the burn patient before and after treatment. And for the hypothesis, there is change of scar area of the burn patient before and after treatment. And so after that, we go back to the Spss data editor, and then we go to the analyze, and we go to compare, click the compare means, and then as I mentioned before, we use the pair sample t test, and then click before treatment into the variable 1 and after treatment into the variable 2, and go to the option, and go to the option, and make sure the confidence interval percentage is 95%, and then click continue, and then click OK. Okay, as we can see, here, there is 0.000, that is which is less than 0.005, which means we can state the hypothesis that so since the sample test of significance is 0.00 is less than 0.005, so the null hypothesis is rejected. So you can see the before is 5.3750 for mean before treatment, and then standard for the standard deviation is 1.63735, and then for the p value, as we mentioned before, is 0.00, and then after treatment is 4.0500, and the standard deviation is 1.46808. As this data of t-test sample statistic, as we can conclude that there is change of scar area of the burn patient before and after treatment, and we can see and we can conclude that that the treatment can be reduced, that means scar area of the patient. So that's all.